Jai Hind to all. This is Chelsi Sen, Assistant Professor, IT Department, AKGC, Ghaziabad. So today we are going to continue the series of PME, that is Project Management Entrepreneurship. We are going to discuss about the various projects in the previous lecture. Now today we are going to discuss about the project cost estimation, that how we can estimate the cost by creating the working capital or the different assets. So this is how we can continue about the project cost estimation series. Now talking about the project cost estimation, we are going to discuss about the project financings, different type of capital budgeting in the entrepreneurships and the project development, how we can develop the project, how we can generate the idea of the project. This we have already discussed in our previous series. So today we are going to discuss about the project cost estimation, how we can calculate the project cost. So first of all, just discuss about the project can have only various materials, like in the project we require various materials, various labors, various labor cost monies. So for that also we require the cost estimation. So all that to put together, we have to maintain a budget to keep that cost very minimum, while we should maintain the quality also. We should not we should define the scope also. So this is how we have to maintain the project cost. Now in the cost estimation in the project management, we have to define the process that it requires, with what type of resources are required, what type of financial and the other resources are required to complete a project within a particular limited time without delaying the particular time. This is how we are going to discuss about the project cost estimation. Now talking about the cost estimations in the accounts, it can be having, we can going to calculate about the total amounts that we are going to spend in the particular development time. Now then we are having a different initial costing, means if we are having some particular budget in our estimation, we prepare a particular initial step, initial cost estimation. So that only we will whether an organization is having the cost or not, whether they have to take the cost from somewhere else as the process of a loan, or we can say that the something financial provides the particular thing. So this is how we can estimate the cost and the project scope. This is how we are going to calculate. They are the various aspects of the project cost estimation. We will going to discuss about the various cost estimations. So talking about the cost in the project management, there are the various types. We can calculate the direct cost also and the indirect cost also. Now if we are talking about the direct cost, it are associated with the single area, like the which department we are going to focus on, which we can say the it includes the fixed labor, it includes the fixed material resources. So these are the factors which are having a direct cost, means we are having a fixed number of labors or fixed number of persons who are used in the development part. If we are talking about the software development or any application building, so we are having a directly involvement of a team, that is the development team is different and the testing team is different. So they are having a fixed number of labors, or we can say the fixed number of person who are involved in that particular project. So these are the direct cost we can estimate very easily. Then we are going to talking about the indirect cost. So talking about the indirect cost, it includes various type of we can say that the in which the large utilities are required, in which we are maintaining the quality control, we are maintaining the different tools. If we are having a different tools to develop, we require the different prices of that particular development. So this will be come under the indirect cost. We will be more discuss about this particular topics in the details in the next coming slides. Now if I talk about the project cost estimation techniques, we are having a different techniques in which we are having a bottom up estimation, top down estimation, analogous estimation, parametric metric estimation, 3-point estimation. So these are the different techniques which how we can calculate the cost estimation. Ultimately our goal is to define the project cost at the very minimum cost at to the client also, and for the development team also. So we are having a technique in which we can maintain our minimum cost too. So talking about the various techniques, we are having the first technique is that is bottom up estimation. Now if I am talking about the bottom up estimation, we are having we have assigned the cost. Wait a minute. Okay, now talking about the bottom up estimation, we are assigning a cost to the individual elements of the project plan, such as task, milestone, phases, and putting the bucks together. In the bottom up estimation, what we are doing, we are dividing the project plan into this different tasks and different phases. So whenever the phases is completed, we will combine all together. So we are having a different blocks. For example, we are having a multiple blocks. These are the different phases we have counted 1 2 3, and afterwards we are combining to create the particular cost of that particular phases. For example, we have calculated some particular cost of the first phase, then we have calculated the cost of the second phase, then we have calculated the cost of the third phase, then we have overall combined this particular phases into the particular task, then we are calculating again the cost. So this is how we are estimating the project cost by the bottom up estimation. Now then recommendation, talking about the recommendations, when we require the defined expectations, we are having a defined expectations, and the requirement are in line, means major changes are not requirement to the scopes. That's why we are required the particular bottom up estimation. Now talking about the top down estimation, we are figuring out the project's total price and determining the scope of the work that can be done. Means in case of the top down approach or top down estimation, we are talking about the project's total price, then we are dividing into the particular work, what work can be done. So first we are defining the total price, then we are dividing the things. Over here what we are doing, we are just first defining the cost of the different phases, then we are combining the price. But in the case of the top down, what we are doing, we are giving a total price amount or the estimation, then we are dividing to the particular scope or particular work that can be assigned into the particular phases. Now talking about the next next estimation technique, that is the analog estimation techniques. In this particular case, we are relying on the data from the previous similar projects. For example, if we have done the project in the previously firms or previously whatever projects we have done, so we are estimating the cost on the basis of that particular thing, ki how much cost can be estimated, or a approximately idea we are generating for that particular cost. So it can be recommendation when the limited information is there about the project, then we can suggest that this is the particular price we are doing for that particular projects. So this is how we can do the analogous estimations from the previous experience or the previous projects which we have already worked on. Now talking about the parametric estimation, what we have to do, we are just taking a specific cost variables, we are taking some data points on particular projects to figure out the ultimate project cost. Means for example, we are taking some variables like variables like the labors, materials, what are the resources we are requirement, what are the development tools we are requirement. So we are taking some variables to estimate that particular cost. So this is the parametric estimation, where we are calculating the price or the cost on the basis of some factors of a material, resources, persons, or the team. So this is how we are calculating on the basis of the parametric estimation. Now it is very scalable. It is used when the previous project data we are having, which is the scalable, means we can use the previous projects as a source. So we can use the parametric estimation over here. Means we can estimate the, for example, in the previous project we are having this much amount of work and we required this much particular labors, this much particular amount of a team we are required. So on the basis of the previous project, we are defining in this particular project, we are defining the factors that if the project is big or a large, we would be required more number of persons to work on, or we require the large number of a team to work in. So this is how we can calculate the parametric estimation technique. Then we are having a 3-point estimation. In this, what we are doing, we are calculating on the basis of the average of a best, worst and the most likely cases estimation. So this is the average of the 3 of the cases. Which one? It is the best cases, or it can be a worst cases, or the most likely cases. So these are the 3 cases we are estimating. On the average of the 3, we are calculating the cost. So this is well advised when the risk going over the budget is high. Means mainly the risk is high or our budget is high, then only we can recommend this particular estimation technique. So these are the various project cost estimation techniques. That's how we can calculate our project cost. It can be approached in the various areas. Like for example, in case of the first bottom up approach, we are having a defined expectations. In second case, top down estimation, if we are having a fixed price project, means if the customer or a client says this is the amount I'm having and we have to work on this particular amount only, so that in that particular case we can use this top down estimation for calculating the project cost. Now these are the different elements. When we are talking about the variables, we are talking about the factors in the parametric estimation technique. So these are the different elements of a cost estimation, which we have to keep in mind, that what type of elements we have to keep in mind to calculate the project cost. So what are the these are the different elements, cost estimation elements. First one is labor. If I'm talking about the labor, in case of the software development or in case of a project development, the cost of a team members, for example, we are having a development team, we are having a developers, we are having a testing team, we are having a content writer team, we are having an advertiserial team. So these are the different team members which are working on the particular projects, would be counted as an element of a cost estimation. Means in terms of a wages or in terms of the time, means how much time is required, that how much time the particular person will work, how much time the particular team member will work. According to that we will estimate the cost. And the wages too. Wages means amount of a work was also decide on this particular thing. So this is the first factor we have to keep in mind. First, that is the team member, and that team member is doing some particular amount of work in the particular time. So this is the first factor we always have to keep in mind to calculate the cost estimation. It can be not only work in the software line, it can be work in the production line also, that the how much production we have to build. That's according to that only we require the teams, or we require the labors. For example, for the material we would be required for the production of any hardwares, any softwares, or we can set the any material we will would be required. Then we will be have to keep in mind about this particular labor cost. Now then the second cost is materials and the equipment. If I am talking about the software or application development, then the material and the equipment will be the development tools. Over here the development tools will be considered as a material or the equipments, that how much development tool we would be required. Some of the development tools are freely available, some of the development tools need not to be paid, and some of the development tool require the security features, so that are the paid basis, on the paid basis. So to host that particular website or application, we would be required the amount. So these will be considered under the material and the equipments. The cost of the resources required for the project, from the physical tools to the software to the legal permits, means whatever the cost of the resources are required, whether it can be a hardware, whether it can be a physical tool, or whether it can be a software tool. In case of the software tools, we are required the different prices, and to the legal permits, means if we are doing a production, till then the legal permit is not allowed, we are calculating that particular amount of a cost. Then the next typical element of a cost estimation is that is the facilities. So when we are talking about the quality, or we can say that the how much the software is good or not. So when we are focusing on the quality, then we have to focus on the facilities. So the cost of the using any working spaces not owned by the organization will be come under the facilities. Means it can be a cost of using like a working spaces. Many times we are developing a particular software in the particular environment, so we would be required the particular amount of that particular working space also. So this is the first thing we are calculating, means the space or the property we are talking about where we are working, that can be also counted as a facilities. So we would be requirement the various equipment also. So we are calculating the cost of that particular project. Now then we are having the another element, that is the vendors. Vendors means for development of the projects or the project hardwares, we are hiring some particular vendors, like it can be a third party vendors. So whenever when we are hiring that third party vendors, we have to pay something. So we have to estimate that cost. We should include that cost also into our project cost estimation. So this is the another factor of the cost estimation of hiring the third party vendors or the contractors. If we are involving any contractors, any third party vendors to involve in our project, we have to pay for that. So this is how we are estimating the calculations on this project cost estimation. Now the another or the last factors in the cost estimation is the risk factor. In any project, any hardware, whenever the project qualities increases, the risk is also increasing. So this is the another contingency plans for the immediate when we required in the emergency cases. For example, the particular plan is not worked, then we have to move to the another plan. So this is the one of the factor in the risk cases. So we have to calculate, if this will not work, then we have to take the another plan in the side by side. So this is how we can calculate the cost estimation of the projects. So this is the last factors that we have involved. So we can that's how we can reduce the risk also for the developing a project, because we need the project which not involve too much risks. So this is how we can reduce the risk. Now talking about the cost estimation, we would be required in the working capital required, means we would be needed the money from where the we can bridge the gap between the accounts, or the what amount we have received, what amount we are giving. So when we are calculating the working capital requirement, we will get the total estimate of the plans. So let's discuss about the working capital environment, what the working capital requirement actually means. So talking about the working capital requirement, it can be described as the money a firm would need to bridge the gap between its accounts, or we can say that it can be gap between the account payable, what we have to pay, and what amount we are receiving, means as a profit what we are receiving, or how much amount we are paying to the particular accounts. So this is the difference between the account payable minus the account receivable. Whatever amount we are going to receive, we will decrease the amount what we have paid. For example, if we are hiring a particular we are receiving an amount from the client, that is the some particular X amount. Okay, now we are spending different amounts on this particular amount, so we are subtracting that amount into the particular payable amount. So this is how we are calculating the working capital requirement. We will take the another example for this particular capital requirement. So maybe it will come in the next slides. So in case of the working capital defects, the businesses can be use their outstanding invoices to avail the funds to meet their working capital requirement. Means whenever we would be required, we can take the loan from the banks also. So there we would be required the invoices, we would be requirements, whatever the available funds we are having. So we can use that particular funds, but we have to have the invoices, we have the particular resources to show that particular. Now with the Credex business, we can utilize their unpaid invoices to avail the working capital hours to 24 to 72 hours. This is the particular to calculate the business utilization or the working capital required, we are using the CREDEX businesses. So that will be beneficial for the organizations. Now these are the factors which how we can calculate the working capital, because this is the a very requirement amount to calculate the cost. And actually we are saying about the terms of a credit, how much amount is debited from our account. So this is the actual amount account statements we can say. So we can determine the working capital over there. Now talking about the factors which can be help in our working capital required, that is the sales. Means whenever the sales will be rise, whenever the sales will be rise, the significant profit will be received. So this is the one of the factor when we will require we will be receiving a profit, or we will generate the high revenue. This is the receivable amount we will calculating. So this is the one of the factor ki how much sales are there, how much rise in high sales volumes are there, how much they are generating a revenue to us. This is very much needed. When the revenue is more, then the cost and the profit will be more. So this is how we are calculating the working capital environment. Now talking about the duration of an operating cycle, the longer it will take a business cycle, the current assets will also equivalent. The more with the will be the required working capital. So this is how the duration when we have to convert the current assets, it will be taking a longer time, so it will be required the more required working capital. Okay, so this is how we are calculating the duration of an operating cycle. Means the longer it takes a business to convert the current assets into the cash, it will take the more time which will be required as the working capital. So it will be a more required capital. Then it will be also depend upon the business, which type of business we are doing. It can be a manufacturing company, it can be a production company. So it depends upon the business or business to business also ki how much working capital is required for the running a business. So whenever we are having a trading businesses, we are having a manufacturing businesses, it will be required. It is the most important factor which would be required. So trading businesses require relatively high working capital. Whenever the we are talking about the manufacturing companies, we are talking about the production companies, we would be requiring a high working capital. Means we are talking about the assets, we are having a current assets we are talking about. So over here we are talking about that. Now in the terms of credit, we are having a businesses that extends the longer terms of a credit to the customers are often in the need of more working capital. The more credit to the customers, the more need of a working capital. So these are the different factors which would be beneficial to determine the working capital. The more will be the sales, more will be the working capital. The more will be the longer time it will take to convert the current asset, the more time will be the working capital requirement. The more or the large businesses we are having, the large amount of working capital is required. So in the terms of credit, would be required the working capital. Now these are the another factors of calculating a working capitals, like the inventory turnover. We have to calculate the inventory turnover, ki how much amount of resulting into the inventories that will be considered as the slow turnover or the extensive inventories. This will be calculating into the working capital requirement. Now then we are having the seasonal variations in case of the summers, or in case of the seasonal variation, when sometimes it can be the turnover can be a high, it can be a low. So according to the season variations, it can be different working capital requirement. So businesses that are dependent on the specific seasons may need the more working capital requirement. Means sometimes when the sales are low or our revenue will be the low, we would be required the more working capital requirement. Now the next factor is about the production technology. Usually production technology is about talking about the manufacturing things, the how much amount of production is developed by the machines, developed by the labors. So this is the production technologies. So this factor will be also responsible for generating a working capital requirement. So these are the different factors, and this is how we can calculate the calculate a company's working capital requirement. If we are having a total, we can calculate we are having some particular current assets minus we are subtracting that particular amount into the liabilities. So we will going to discuss about the various current assets and the liabilities too. Now current assets can include that the whatever the cash we are having in hand. It can be a cash in equivalent when we are having an inventory. So whatever the amount in the current assets we are having, so that will be considered as a cash equivalent. Then it will also consider as a company inventory. Whatever amount will be there in the company's inventory, that will be considered as a current assets. Now the next amount will be in the current assets will be the account receivable. Whenever the customer is giving any amount or whatever the amount is receiving by the account section, it will be also considered in the current assets only. Or we can say that the it can be a prepaid liabilities. Whatever the assets we are having in the hand, that will be considered in the current assets. Now talking about the liabilities, liabilities means whatever we are spending on the particular business or project development, that will be considered under the current liabilities. So these are the different liabilities, whatever we are amount paying to the for the particular development things or for the labor purposes, for the resources requirement. So whatever the amount we are paying, that will be subtracted from the current assets. So that's how we are going to calculate the working capital. It can be a notes payable. It can be a tax when we are having some tax amount to be deducted. So that will be also considered in the current liabilities. Then immediate debts, whatever the amount will be debited from the account, that will be also considered in the current liabilities. Then we are having a dividends. So basically we are following this particular formula to calculating our particular working capital requirements. So this is the particular formula for the calculating working capital requirement. Means whatever the amount we are receiving, then we are subtracting that particular amount whatever we are paying. So this is how we are calculating the working capital requirement. So hope this current assets and the current liabilities are understandable. Now based on that particular formula, we can calculate the things. This is the example we have taken. Suppose the current assets of a Mr. Kumar's business stands by the 25,000. Means if we are talking about the current assets, it is already directly given over here. If it will be saying these are the terminologies used in the particular question, then also we will consider the question into the as a current assets only. If it would be written over there that the cash in hand is equals to 25,000 or the cash equivalent is equals to 25,000, then we are going to subtract that particular amount. So this is 25,000, we are considered into the 25,000 into the current assets. Then we are having a current liabilities that they are giving as a 45,000. Now it is coming under in the negative. Okay, means our current assets are low and liabilities are increased. Means whatever the amount we are paying, that are increased. So this is how we are going to calculate the amount. Means we have to take the 20,000 as a calculating price in the project cost. So this will be the most beneficial factor to calculate our project cost estimation, because over here we are getting a loss. So how we can bear from how we can bear this particular amount to take the project cost from that particular amount. Now since the outcome is negative, we are discussing this factor only. So since the outcome is negative, it indicates the Mr. Kumar's business has a defect in the work capital. It means that his firm immediate liquidity is not enough to optimize their functions. Means if the amount is negative, so it is not optimizable. So it would be required the means to reduce that working capital requirement. So we can use these are the different methods to reduce this working capital like the quick collection of account receivable. We can reduce the inventory cycle, we can reduce the credit terms, and we can increase the sell volume. So this is how we can meet the working capital requirement to this can be alternate solution to the credits. Thank you, Jai Hind. This is all, and we are going to discuss the next thing in the next lecture. Thank you, Jai Hind.